Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so glad that you're here. We're just letting everyone in from the waiting room. We're expecting quite a large group, and so we're going to let everyone kind of filter in. I am Hope Edelman. I am the author of Motherless Daughters and the founder at motherlessdaughters.com. And I'm here today with Claire Bidwell Smith, Angela Schellenberg, and Ace Easter. We're all going to be introducing ourselves in a moment, but for the first minutes, we're just going to be letting women in. I can only see a couple of you in the bar across the top. Hey, Fran in Berlin. Hey, Lindsay in Utah, and Kristen and Jenny in California. That's all I can see right now, but I know there's many, many more of you here. We have more than 200 women already here. We're going to be introducing ourselves in a moment, but for the first few minutes, like I said, we're going to be letting women in. While we're waiting, I think we're just going to show a little tribute video here that you can all watch. If you submitted your mom's name when you registered for the call, there is a tribute page we put together at motherlessdaughters.com where her name is listed, and you can watch it here as it scrolls down and look for your mom's name. And then in just 2 or 3 minutes, we'll go ahead and start the call. Here we go. We can't start because, let's see, I can't make my screen large enough. Oh dear. Oh dear. We're going to stop sharing.
Wait, you got it. Let's see.
Can anyone help me here?
Yeah.
I can't make my screen large enough. Oh, here, let's try this.
There it goes. I hit it.
There we go. Thank you, everyone. All right. So here we go. We'll wait a moment. Sorry for that bumpy start. For all of you who are already here, if you can see Ira on the screen, that's A-I-R-A. She's going to be managing the chat box, and she's also going to be letting people in. And she's here if you have any tech issues that you would like to, or that you need help with. So Ira will be there. So we'll just wait a moment while we've got women coming in on a regular basis here. We'll just wait a moment until everyone is here. And then we'll go ahead and get started with this beautiful tribute event to all our beautiful mamas that we do every year. All right, more sisters piling in. As if you do the Motherless Daughters community calls every week, you know how Zan always says, come on in, get in here, sisters. So get in here. We've got almost 300 women participating on this call from all over the world. Please go ahead and feel free to drop in the chat box where you're calling in from. We'd love to know how many countries are represented on this call. And also, if you would like and you feel comfortable, please put how old you were when your mom died and what she died from, because there may be other women on this call who'd like to know that there are other women who lost moms at a similar time in their lives or from the same cause of death. So please go ahead and drop in the chat box where you're calling in from, how old you were when your mom died, and what she died from. And if you want to put in her name and how old she was, feel free to put that into. We're going to be sending everyone a text copy of the chat box, so don't worry about having to read through all of it now. It is a place where you can post messages, but please do not DM me or Angela or Claire or Ace during the call. We're not going to be able to see it and respond to you, though of course we would be happy to hear from you afterwards. Ira, would you be willing to just read a few of the locations from the chat box while we're waiting so we can see and hear where some sisters are joining us from?
We have a few people from New York, Southern California, Australia, and you also have a few people from San Francisco, Canada, Santiago. You have one from Philadelphia, San Jose, Houston, Oakland, Queens, You have a few from Atlanta, you have a few from Bay Area, you have a few from India, and then from Canada, Western Australia, South Africa, California, and so much. The team is just flooding in. I'm sorry.
That's
There's-
okay. Okay.
We have so many people from all over the world, and it's so amazing.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
really beautiful. Sisters, if you're here from Australia or from, here, I'll stop sharing now. If you're here from Australia or you're here from India, we're just so excited that you're here with us today because we know the effort that it took for you to come in and be here with us with the time change. So thank you so much for being here. We're thrilled that you have decided to join us today. All right, so Mother's Day for Motherless Daughters. Welcome, everybody. We are so glad that you're here. This is an annual event. And we do this every year because there's no culturally sanctioned day or way in most Western cultures to acknowledge mothers who are no longer living on this weekend. And that means this weekend can be a really lonely experience for some women who are thinking about their moms and don't have a way to connect with them this weekend. It's been the mission of Motherless Daughters since 1996 to bring women together to say, my mom matters on this weekend too. Because as the theme of today's call reaffirms, we are forever and always her daughter, and she is always our mother. I couldn't be happier to be here today with Claire and Angela and Ace. All of us have spent multiple Mother's Days without our moms. So I'd like them to introduce themselves to you and just say a few words of welcome as we get started. Claire, would you go first? And then maybe Angela and then Ace?
Knew you were going to pick me, but I'm like really emotional right now.
Us too, yeah.
I'm so grateful, Hope, for how you do this every year. And I come to you guys as first and foremost a Motherless Daughters. I'm normally a pretty polished grief therapist out in the world and an author, but on this day and in this gathering, we are all together and I'm one of you. And I just love coming to be with each other in this moment. And I'm just profoundly grateful to Hope and all the work and space she's created all these years. You know, I first discovered her work in my early 20s, and it just changed my life and changed my trajectory of mother loss. My mom died when I was 18. Both of my parents got cancer at the same time when I was 14. So my mom died when I was 18, and then my dad when I was 25. I'm now a therapist specializing in grief and the author of 5 books about grief and loss. I see clients one-on-one, support groups, lead retreats. I work with Angela and Hope pretty closely. I'm a big fan of Ace. And again, I'm just so grateful to be here with all of you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Angela Schellenberg, and I'm a trauma, grief, loss, attachment, EMDR, and now equine therapist. So, but like Claire and like Hope, I'm a motherless daughter first. I lost my mom, I always say twice. Once when I was 11, she was mentally ill and institutionalized, and so I cared for her. I was a caretaker first, and then she died when I was 22. And in the middle of that, my father was gunned down and killed. And so this has been, my life work, and these ladies here have just been so incredibly helpful and so incredibly inspiring to me. And so I'm so glad you're here. And I am also emotional because having all of you here, I can just feel it in every part of my body. And I'm so thankful you're here. Sending big love. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. All right. Hi, everyone. Happy birthday to the moms that they have a birthday today. I saw some of that pop up in the chat. I just want to acknowledge that if that today is your mom's birthday, happy birthday to your mama. My name is Alicia Krista Easter. I go by Ace, or you can call me Alicia. I lost my mom when I was 19, and I have been that was 23 years ago. Sometimes it feels like it was just yesterday. I'm a yoga instructor, meditation guide, and a master Reiki practitioner, amongst a few things, a few hats that I wear here and based here in Los Angeles. So yeah, I love Hope, Angela, Claire, and being able to be a part of this year after year, and definitely a couple times throughout the year with Hope is always just such an honor to hold space. So thank you all so much for having me, and thank you all so much for showing up for yourselves today.
Top of my screen has Lindsay, Elizabeth, Kristen, and Jenny, all of whom have come to a Motherless Daughters retreat. Some of you who've met Claire there. Claire and I started Motherless Daughters retreats back in 2016, quite a while ago. Angela co-facilitates some of the retreats on the West Coast. Ace is our yoga instructor and sound healer at the retreats in Los Angeles. So some of you may be familiar. I am coming to you today from Central Mexico. Shout out to anyone on the call today from Mexico, where it is today, Dia de las Madres, the Mexican Mother's Day. This is a really happy accident. It was not planned in advance. I didn't know until just a few weeks ago that Mother's Day in Mexico has been held on a Saturday, the day before Mother's Day in much of the rest of the world since 1922. And if you're a history nerd like me, you might be interested in learning that that's because historically, payday in Mexico was Saturday. And this allowed people to pick up their paychecks or get their money that morning and buy their mother flowers or get them food for lunch. So that's why Saturday is Dia de las Madres. And I can hear all kinds of stuff happening out on the street in celebration. I'm in San Miguel de Allende. If anyone's calling in from there, hello, hello, you're my neighbor today. Mother's Day in the United States started a little bit earlier. It started in 1908. Something many people don't know is that Mother's Day was originally started as a day to honor all mothers, living or not. Its founder, Anna Jarvis, was a woman whose mother had died. Yes, it is true. Mother's Day was originally started by a motherless daughter. She had lost her mom 3 years earlier, and her mother had been an early feminist and social activist, and she wanted to designate a day to honor the sacrifices and daily work of mothers in the home. And President Woodrow Wilson signed the holiday into a bill that year. I think that the following year. And so, or right around then. The first one was in 1908 at a church in West Virginia and at John Wanamaker's department store in Philadelphia. And then President Woodrow Wilson signed it into a holiday. So we all gather here today in sacred remembrance of Anna Jarvis and the work she did to honor all mothers. So I'd like to share with you now a letter that I wrote this morning, just for all of you. From my heart to yours. So I'm going to share that just for a few minutes. And I might tear up. You may want to have some tissues nearby. We are very tissue friendly here at Motherless Daughters. We are very tear friendly. We believe that it is a really healthy form of release. So I may tear up, Clara, Angela, and Ace might tear up. That's what happens. We're doing it, holding space for all of us together, lifting each other up, 354 women on this call. So hello, all you dear ones, sisters, grievers, daughters, and maybe some sons as well on the call. I am so very glad that you're here. As we know all too well, tomorrow is the designated day on the calendar to honor mothers in the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, much of Europe, and other countries too. We have been bombarded for the past few weeks with emails, card displays, and special offers to honor living mothers and to be honored by children for those of us who have them. You may be feeling there's no place for you in this maelstrom of commercial activity this weekend. If your mom has died, there is no widespread, culturally sanctioned way to remember or honor her this weekend. That's why we gather here today, every year, to come together in a global community without borders, to say Mother's Day weekend isn't just for living mothers. My mother lived, she mattered, and she matters still. If this is your first Mother's Day without your mom, a very special thread is extending from my heart straight to yours this weekend. It is such a tender time. I don't remember my first Mother's Day without my mom, which would have occurred the month before I turned 18. I blocked out much of what happened in that first year, but I remember the second Mother's Day when I was a freshman in college, and all the girls in my dorm left together to buy cards at the local drugstore for their moms. It was Osco Drugs in downtown Evanston, Illinois, for those of you who were there in the 1980s, right near Marshall Field. And I remember that Sunday afternoon when my dorm mates pulled their phones out into the hallways. This was long before cell phones, to call their moms at home to wish her a happy Mother's Day. I hid in the library alone that day, trying to focus on reading my cultural anthropology textbook. And that did not go very well. Sitting in an empty room with a view of Lake Michigan, I felt a hole in my heart, a deep and gaping absence that I didn't think could ever be filled again. I was wrong about that, but it did take some time. I'd like to pause here for a moment to introduce you to my mom, Marcia, because she's the reason we're all here today. She was born and raised in New York. She was an accomplished pianist. She studied music in college. And she was an elementary school music teacher in an all-Black grade school when segregation was still a most unfortunate reality in the United States. She was forced to leave teaching when she became pregnant with me, 1960s, but her love for music was instilled in all three of her children. What that meant ultimately was that one of her daughters would become a rabid Bruce Springsteen fan, the other a rabid Steely Dan fan, and her son a Deadhead. But never mind, all three of us carry her legacy of music and musical expression in our spirits and our souls. My mom sadly never got to see us develop that love. When I was 15, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, stage 3, and 16 months later, she died. That means by now, I've lived much more of my life without her than with her. And what that means is I've lived most of my life adjusting to and undoing what happened in the aftermath of her death. The sadness, the family's response, the silence. I imagine the same is true for many of you here today. The majority of motherless daughters I work with one-on-one, on group support calls, and at in-person retreats all say the same thing, that after their mothers died, a silence descended on their families. No one would talk about their moms with them anymore. They were left alone with the treasured memories they had, in some cases, very few of them, or perhaps none if they were very young when she died. We are each on this call today for many and different reasons, but among them, I believe, is the shared desire to break that silence. Today, we come together as a subversive act against that silence, to carve out a place this weekend for sacred remembrance, for honoring the ones who gave us life, for saying their names out loud, for giving ourselves permission to feel the love that continues even after death, even and especially long after death, because that love does not die. Every year at this time, I'm asked to share the best way to honor a mother who's died. In the past, white carnations were worn on Mother's Day if your mom was no longer living, but in my opinion, that misses the mark by a lot. And I'm glad that tradition has been abandoned. Some daughters and sons find it comforting to visit their mother's gravesite or the place where her ashes were scattered. But a lot of us live far from such a place if one exists. Some daughters will cook her favorite food, some will play her favorite music, some spend the day with their children or with nieces and nephews and sink into the experience of being a maternal figure rather than focusing on having lost one. And some daughters have fraught relationships with their mothers and don't know how to spend this weekend. If honoring her doesn't feel right, if that's your story, perhaps tomorrow you can focus on the very, very simple truth that your mother gave you life, and then go out and celebrate life in a way that's meaningful to you. However you choose to spend tomorrow is the right way for you. There are no rules here. I'd like to repeat that because it's so important. There are no rules here. For a long time, I thought this was a cultural misstep to overlook us, motherless daughters, at this time of year. But now I think the no rules rule can actually be a good thing, because it means we are free to remember our mothers this weekend, as we remember them every day, in whatever way speaks most clearly to us. Anna Jarvis, the founder of Mother's Day, in later years became terribly distressed about how commercialized the holiday had become. That had never been her intention. She even started actively campaigning against taking the holiday off the calendar so it could become a private celebration again. So this Mother's Day, I invite you to join me in standing with Anna and to turn this day into your private remembrance in whatever way feels right to you. And that can include doing nothing at all, if that feels like the most valuable form of self-care for you this year. When I'm asked how to best honor a mother who's no longer living on Mother's Day, I have only one answer now. It's to take good care of her daughter on that day. Because the greatest gift a mother can receive is knowing that her daughter is well cared for and capable of feeling moments of true joy. I am a mother myself to 2 daughters, which is how I know this to be true. And it's how I know your mother would most likely feel the same. By being here today, you are all taking a decisive step in your own healing. You are exercising the kind of agency you did not have when you were a young person and joining a space, a collective space that sees you, that hears you, and that understands what it feels like to be missing your mom or to have spent much of your life missing your mom. You, all of you, are living proof that she was here, that she lived, and she mattered. You are one of her gifts to the world. Now get on out there and be that person she always knew you could be. That will be your gift to us all. With love and solidarity. Again, thank you all so much for being here, especially those of you who have gotten here recently. You'll be receiving a recorded link so you can see whatever you've missed. But right now, I'd like to pass the screen over to Claire, who is one of Sally's gifts to all of us. She has some words of her own for you, and then you'll hear from Angela and Ace.
Thank you so much, Hope. That was beautiful. I'm still a little emotional. And again, I'm really just so honored to be here with all of you. This is my 28th Mother's Day without my mom. Sally died when I was 18, and we had an incredibly close relationship. She was an amazing mom. I was her only child. And I also don't remember my first Mother's Day. I think I was just in so much shock, so much disassociation. I could not comprehend a world without my mom. I didn't know how I was going to be here, and I didn't know how I was going to continue. And I really, for all of you out there who are, this is your first Mother's Day without your mom, your first year without your mom, your first anything without your mom. We see you, we love you, we feel all of this for you. And we really want to give you permission to feel everything that's coming up. You might feel angry, you might feel absolutely anguished, you might feel betrayed, you might feel envious. You might just feel sad and hurt and wounded. You might feel empty and numb. All of those things are so okay and normal to feel. I know also for all of you out there who are, on your 5th, 10th, 28th Mother's Day without your mom, we feel you too. That cumulative grief, that, oh my God, how many more of these do I have to do? I think there were periods of time in my mother loss journey when I thought, okay, I think I've done enough now. Maybe she'll come back because this has been enough penance, or can I just stop missing her? Can I just stop doing this and feeling this? And yet we soldier on through this. We really do. And the way that we do it is exactly what we are doing right now, what Hope has created, what we are all bolstering. We are here together. Every time I am in one of these rooms, whether it's a Zoom room or a physical room with all of you, you know me better than some of my closest friends in the world, than some of my family. I can stand in a room of all of you and you know me in a way that no one else in my life does. And it matters so much, because I think it can feel so lonely to not have your mom in this world. And people just don't get it. They don't understand how enormous it is and how much it impacts everything about who you are, your identity, yourself, the way of moving through the world, what it feels like to be a mom and go to school pickup and see grandmothers there picking up their kids, all of those things. It's so lonely. But when we come together like this, we see each other and we can hold on to each other in a way that's so vital. It's been the thing that has seen me through these 28 years. And I am just always profoundly grateful to share this space. I wanted to say a couple words about honoring Mother's Day this year, but I want you to think about honoring 3 things. I want you to honor your moms, whether you had a complicated relationship or not. Find some way to ritualize and honor this moment, this time, this version of Mother's Day for you, whatever it feels like this year. Maybe it's lighting a candle, maybe it's taking back Mother's Day and going to the card aisle and picking out a card and writing her a card. Maybe it's posting about her, saying her name, or sharing a story. Maybe it's closing the blinds and just talking to her in your head, or writing her a letter and not sharing it with anybody out there. So finding some way to honor your mother, however beautiful or complicated that is for you. But then I also want you to find a way to honor your grief and make space for that. How can you do that? Even in a place or a world or a family or a culture that doesn't see it, you hold your grief. You walk through it every day. It's something that you carry with you throughout your life. How can you make a little more space for it? Do you need to just have a really big, good cry? Do you need to talk about it to somebody? Do you need to write about it? Do you need to paint or draw? Whatever it is you need to do to make some space for your grief. Maybe it's a commitment of some sort that you make to, seek out more support groups, or go on a motherless daughter retreat, or, find a counselor or a coach. How can you honor your grief? And then lastly, how can you honor yourself on this Mother's Day? Because we are the ones who are here. We are the ones who carry our mothers, our grief, our own lives. For so many years, I thought that the answer to not having a mom was not needing a mom. And I was wrong. About 10 years ago, I realized that the answer was that I needed to learn how to mother myself. I needed to learn how to nurture myself, take care of myself, think about myself as my mother would. Even though she's been gone for so long, I can imagine what she would think of any decision I would make, what to make for dinner, how to deal with my kids or my marriage or my health. She would be on top of me to want me to take care of myself, to nurture myself. So how can you do those things for yourself? Again, I'm so honored and grateful to be here. Thank you all so much for showing up to this and to each other and to me and to yourselves. Thank you, Hope and Ace and Angela. Angela, you're on mute.
You're on
Yeah.
mute. We can't hear you, Angela. You're on mute.
Oh, sorry about that. I said I'm going to try not to cry too, because I feel so emotional in this. But I don't remember much of the first Mother's Day without my mom. I was 22. I think I found Hope's book soon after that and carried it around like a Bible in my backpack. But I don't really remember that. And what I remember is so much of the trauma, which is, I think, why I'm a trauma therapist. Okay, because I didn't understand what was happening to me. And so I want to take a moment, because what I have learned in all my trauma work is that this loss, is so profound that a lot of times losing your mother is a trauma, you guys, because it's a break in attachment. And I think a lot of times people don't recognize that. And so I want to take a moment and have you just kind of put your palms up. Okay, when you put your palms up, this is a way that we can receive love. And so I want you to imagine that you're putting your palms up right in front of the screen, and I want you to feel this. So I want you to imagine all of these women in this circle all around the world. And so you can close your eyes if you want to. And I just want you to feel that sisterhood and that love. And I just want you to take it in. And as you're doing that, I want you to notice where you feel this in your body. Some of you might feel it in your heart. That's always a space where the grief lives. If you feel really emotional, that's okay. Just let it out. And I just want you to sit with this for a minute and just notice what's happening in your body. And then as you're doing that, I want you to take a big deep breath in. And I invite you to take a deep breath out. And when you take a deep breath in this next time, what I want you to imagine is that you're just breathing in and receiving all the love. And then hold that love. And then big exhale. One more time. I'm going to take a deep breath in, hold, and feel, and then release. I wanted to talk about nervous system regulation today, and I think this is one of the best ways, because if you did that exercise, I know you probably felt this in your heart like I did, and in your whole body. Okay, this is nervous system regulation. We didn't learn this, a lot of us, from our mothers. Nervous system regulation is feeling the breath of all of our emotions in a regulated tone. You know, if you're anything like me, my mother didn't know how to do that, so she would yell and scream. And when I think about emotion regulation and grief, I had no idea how to regulate my emotions. I think I walked around the world living at a, if you imagine a scale 0 to 10, we want people to be at a 3. I was probably at a 7 to 9 most of my life, just, you know, going faster than my Buddha or angel could fly. And so I want to talk about nervous system regulation because I think it's really important. It's not just your emotions, but when you lose your mom, it lives in your body. It lands there. And so it's so important to remember that. It also can affect like the amygdala, that sense of safety in the world, your fear response. So it makes it really difficult for us to regulate our emotions. So we have to work really hard to try to feel our emotions in a regulated way. That doesn't mean not feel them. Mary Frances O'Connor, some of you might know her work. She did a beautiful book called The Grieving Brain. And what happens when we lose our mom is we're constantly looking, where is our person? Where is our person? And our brain is just going like this. And when we can't find them, we lose that solid attachment. We just begin to panic. And that's where that fear and that anxiety can kind of flood our nervous system. And it really affects our executive functioning. We can shut down. And it can feel completely debilitating. And so I want to go over some of the symptoms that you might be feeling if this is new or fresh for you. Sometimes you can feel these so many years later. You might feel like you're floating or outside of your body. This can be disassociation. It can be depersonalization, derealization. You can feel spaced out, kind of numbing, or you might be busy. I can relate to that one. so your grief can't catch up with you, or you just shut down, or your body kind of goes offline. This is dysregulation. It's kind of when our body goes into these trauma responses. So the 4 trauma responses that we have are fight. So you might find yourself going into that like self-present, like you're just fighting or you're angry all the time. That can be the fight response to trauma. Flight, I always call this one going faster than your Buddha or angel can fly. You're just literally going on flight mode. I saw a picture on Instagram this morning, this duck sitting on an airplane, and I was like, yeah, that's the flight mode of trauma. Freeze is where you're just literally, this is what I did. I kind of went into that dorsal freeze mode after my mom died, and I don't think I got out of bed for like 3 or 4 days. I just laid there, and I could not get up physically. Many of you know that. And then that fawn response where we're people pleasing, you know, that can be a really common thing. Most of us live in 2 of those, but you will find that you'll go in and out of all of them. You know, you can have lots of different ones. So if you're feeling off this week, I just want you to know this is totally normal. It's a trauma response. It's things that happen when we are flooded with these feelings. And I think when a lot of people think of emotion regulation as just calm down, that is not what it is. It's learning to feel the breath of all those emotions, you know, in a regulated tone. So often we do this, we go like this and imagine a wave on the ocean. We don't want to feel it because, oh my gosh, a lot of times, and Hope and I, we talked about this too. We think if we feel this, we're going to cry, we're going to not stop crying, we're not going to get off the floor, and we just won't get up. I remember feeling that way. So I would do a lot of things to avoid it. But I want you to imagine that wave in the ocean. Hold your breath and let it go through and pass. I promise you will stop crying. Hope you said it's not physically possible for 20 minutes. Usually that's the longest someone could cry is 20 minutes. So avoiding those feelings is really hard because we can't heal what we don't allow ourselves to feel. So by avoiding your grief and running from it, I promise you it's going to spill out in other ways. We might start, you know, drinking more or eating more or over shopping. There's so many ways in which our grief spills out when we don't learn to kind of feel it. And so that's one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about is just noticing, scanning your body like we did. Where do I feel something in my body? The body holds so much. If it's the back of your head back here, that sort of weight of the world on your shoulders. Heart is usually grief. Anytime you're in your tummy, that's usually unprocessed emotions. Okay, so when you start to feel that tummy, that's a sign for you to go, what am I feeling? And one of my favorite things to do is use this feeling wheel. This is the feeling wheel. I always have to bring this up. So you can get it on Amazon. I have a giant blanket that I use too with a feeling wheel so that you can begin to name your emotions. You know, what am I feeling? Where is it in my body? 0 to 10, where am I? That's emotion regulation. Distress tolerance. This helps so much with your grief. I'm going to teach you just a couple tools that I found that might help. And I know Ace, you have so many tools. She's amazing at this, but like just the butterfly tap, you know, you can take your hands like this, go like this, and just tap like this, left and right. If you're feeling anxious, like every time, like you think about like car accident or something, you're always doing this, you naturally do a lot of these things. Okay. So butterfly tap is left and right. Water, ice, I always love those. You know, if you are getting panicky or having panic, grounding is always first. People think it's breath, but it's grounding first. So if you get on one foot, like right, if you're standing right now, if you try this, if you get on one foot, you're literally in your body and you can't, it's a great way to do that. Just standing on one foot, you can tap. Holding ice cubes, sometimes that helps if you're having a panic attack. Water, when you get in the shower, that activates the dive response in the parasympathetic nervous system, and that kind of helps you regulate a little bit. So anytime you take a shower, do those sorts of things, that can be helpful. One of the things that, this is my made up thing, but I always say, you know, when you're just in that dorsal freeze mode, you just get this taco. Hope gave me a tortilla, but I couldn't find the tortilla. And you just wrap it up like a swaddle and just lay in bed. Like sometimes we just have to give into it. It takes our nervous system 20 minutes to reset. And sometimes you just trauma taco up and let yourself just do that. So I'm just kind of throwing some things in there. If you feel like you need the trauma taco today, do. Write a letter, call someone safe, you know, someone who says, yeah, I'm listening to you. You know, I want to try to avoid the people that say, well, at least you have this, or, you know, trying to stay away from those people that you know are not going to help you in your grief today. And the last thing I wanted to kind of touch on a little bit is kind of complicated grief. If your relationship was, you know, tough with your mom, some of you had solid attachment. That solid attachment is nurturance, protection, guidance. And if you had those things, that's what you're missing. Some people had some trauma with their mom beforehand. So sometimes that can make it complicated. New grief brings up old grief. And so if you're feeling some of those things, know that that's a thing that happens. So I want you to remember to just all of this stuff brings up so many things from your past. In my work in trauma, I'm always like, okay, what does this remind you of? If you have a big reaction, it's usually coming from an earlier part because trauma lives in the body. So just, I want you to think about taking care of yourself, putting that umbrella of self-compassion over your head, and just give into this. Like, it's okay for you to be okay. It's okay for you to not be okay. Whatever you need to do is okay. The other thing in closing is you're just not alone. I mean, this is so beautiful to have this, and set boundaries with your self-care too. Like, I can't do that today, or I can't people, or thanks for the casserole. Could you leave it on the floor? I just can't talk, right? Whatever you need to do, it's okay. Write yourself a permission slip to just do whatever the frick you want to do. Okay. And I think say yes to just slowness and softness and find your people. You know, I invite you to join our Motherless Daughter groups. We love to take classes from Claire, Hope, all the things. So thank you so much. And I'm sending you so much love. I'll pass it over to Ace.
All right. Wow, this has been so powerful so far. It's just like, this is so great. I see so many names I recognize in the chat popping through. Thank y'all so much, Angela, Claire. The tenderness of your heart still, and the fact of like the powerful work that you do. I could feel that the necessity for us all to just take a big inhale here through our nose and relax your shoulders. Big sigh, let it go. Let your fingertips relax for a moment. No need to type, no need to chat, no need to put anything like in the chat for a moment. Just allow yourself to just relax your arms down next to your side body. Drop your right ear over to your right shoulder. Drop your chin down towards your chest. When you're ready, rolling it down towards your chest. Drop your left ear over to your left shoulder. And then gently drop your head back behind you. And if you need some extra support for that to not feel so vulnerable, then take your hand to heart, hand to belly, and then allow yourself to rise up, bring your chin back level. I want y'all to really receive this. So if you can, for the next few minutes, do your best to not type in the chat. I want you to receive. I just really want you to let go. I want you to relax your hands. I want you to relax your shoulders. Yes. Relax your jaw, relax your facial features. Relax your eyes, relax your brow, relax your ears. Receive. Beautiful. Just keep receiving here. And when you're ready, and if your eyes are not already closed, start to close your eyes. Close your eyes. I promise you will have so much time to share, to write, to message. But it's really coming up strong here that we want our voices and we want to speak and we want everything to be heard, but there's peace in the pause of being able to listen to your heart. Listen, listen, listen. There's a lot of ease. There's a lot of healing. There's a lot of comfort that comes from being still. As I was preparing for this day, I prepare in a variety of ways. For me, it was taking a heated yoga class this morning, right before. Seeing this golden light of protection around every single face that is here and every single face that is not here, but will watch later. So bring this golden light of protection. Imagine it in your mind right here, right now. Golden healing light of protection. And a gentle whisper, or even saying it to yourself of thank you, Mom. As Hope mentioned earlier, even if the relationship was non-existent or it was wounded, she ushered you into where you are, into life here on this plane. This golden light of protection is now going to protect you, and it's going to protect her, and it's going to protect the mom-like figure that allowed you to be where you are today, to teach you love, who taught you patience, who taught you understanding, and who allowed you to be exactly who you are unapologetically. And maybe some of us is still learning that to this day, and that's okay. This golden light of protection is still surrounding you. And what you're doing now is you're imagining this golden brick path, this golden road in front of you. And perhaps your mom or your mom-like figure appears right next to you. Your fingertips interlace, and you start to walk along this the yellow brick road together. On either side of the yellow brick road are flowers of all variations of all kinds. Maybe if you know your mom's favorite flower, maybe those appear. Maybe it's orchids. Maybe it's plants like agave, white roses, who knows? But you walk slow, hand in hand, and you say, thank you for giving me life. Thank you for walking the walk that you did to be initiated to bring me into your belly, or however you arrived here, and then bring me earthside. Thank you. You're looking to her, she's looking at you. You're continuing to walk along, and these flowers now become people. They become the people your mom left here for you when she had to go, when she had to move on, when her work here was done and we just didn't understand how could it be done, how could she leave, but she was called to the next place. But she set up angels, flowers, people along your life, along your path to guide you, to love you. And you start seeing these people along this path. You get so excited. You're like, I knew it. I knew it. I knew you were left here by my mom for me. Then you continue walking along this yellow golden path, this yellow brick road, and you get to the end and you take a seat. You sit down, there's a beautiful field there of lush grass. And this golden light is surrounding both of you, encasing both of you, hand in hand, heart to heart. Your mom starts to pull your hair out of your face, and maybe a happy tear wipes away from your eyes, or she fixes your outfit, just fusses over you as a mom does with love. And you sit and you see and you hug and you love and you laugh. And whatever you and your mom did together that was just special for just you two, only you know. You do right here, right now, encased in this beautiful golden light of protection. Continue allowing, continue noticing. Hmm. Feeling sparks of light. Start to allow your toes to twinkle as they rub against the grass, or maybe your mom massages them, and the sparks of light in her hands as she places you in her lap and starts to hold you close, rock you, remind you that you've done amazing at life. You've done amazing at life. And not just in honor of her, but in honor of the being you were born to be. You were here with sadness, with joy, with love, with mourning, with faith, unapologetically, that your life has always mattered and was never an accident, always on purpose, with love. The golden light of protection now creates a beautiful space inside both of your hearts, like a locket, that each time you need to remember, you come to this locket that you both have inside of you to remember, to recall the flowers, the people that your mom put in place for you to thrive and continue to thrive. And as you release your fingertips, it's not the last time. It's just time to go. Start to bring soft, subtle movements back into your fingers, back into your toes, coming back into your body. Taking hand to belly, hand to heart. Still imagining the inner lace of your mamas if you need that right now. And then blink your eyes open. Good. And it'll just be continue on a celebration and honoring a toast to her life, her legacy, her lineage, her yes, in you. So it's a toast to you because she's literally 50% of you. So there is no way to not ever honor her, not ever think about her, not ever do right by her when you are doing right by yourself, honoring yourself. And so it's a beautiful way in which we toast to you and also toasting to your mom-like figure, the angels, the flowers that still guide you today. Those of us who saw in the chat, I saw some who've lost daughters who are here, and bless their hearts, bless their flowers, bless their angels, bless their guiding light for you as well. So it's a toast to you. It's a toast to the moms. It's the toast to all of us here so that we can continue to shine bright and not be afraid of our light and not be afraid of ascending and making magic, making waves, lighting up carpets, lighting up rooms in honor of our mom, but really in honor of ourselves as we move through this life, remembering that we are on purpose and for purpose. So again, a toast to the moms, a toast to you, a toast to all of us here today. So a toast to the moms. Let's take it up. And my water bottle here, because water is everything. And your mom will want you to drink more water. Ashe, thank you.
It's so true. Water is lifeblood, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah. Ace, that was beautiful. Thank you so, so much. We have a short video to share with you now. It's just about 4 minutes, and please stay until it's over because we will be doing our Circle of Remembrance together worldwide. So this is a video that we made a number of years ago for one of the first online Motherless Daughters celebrations. And we like to play it when we can. And if any of you have submitted a photo those years ago and have it up, see it up on the screen, please let us know. We want to thank you for giving us permission to continue to use this photo of your beautiful mama all these years that has made a difference in many, many, many women's lives on this weekend. So I'm going to get into that very bumpy process of sharing my screen again. And just let's sit together and honor the moms on the screen and the moms in our hearts.
Years of photograph I hardly recognize who's that happy person wearing my younger eyes. All my dreams have turned into blood so cold and dark and deep. Oh, sometimes I still need a mother to rock me out to sleep. Oh, sometimes I still need a mother to rock me out to sleep. me to grow up fast and free. And the ties that bind me to friends and family. So I'll tread down life's river, when love the river is so wide. Oh, sometimes I still need a moment forever. You're a child. Oh, sometimes I still need a moment forever. You were child. The faded blue hotel, a little sparrow rising through the rain, the liquid blushing there, and the breeze like that sparrow. There's love flying away. Oh, sometimes I still need a mother. Sometimes I need my mother to call me home again, again and again, again and again, again and again and again and again.
I've watched that video probably 100 times and I can't get through it once without crying. So thank you again to everyone who submitted their photos for that and for sharing their moms with us, and to all of you for being here and sharing yourselves and your moms with us today. If you've been to a Motherless Daughters event in person, as I know a number of you have, you know that we do something at the end of every event called the Circle of Remembrance. This was developed in 1996 at the very first Motherless Daughters luncheon on the Saturday before Mother's Day. It took place in New York City. Some of you on this call, I know, were at that luncheon. So all these years later, we're still doing the Circle of Remembrance. It's a very special way that we acknowledge our moms out loud and our enduring connection to them. When we're in person, we stand in a circle and we hold hands and we go around the circle and we say our name and our mother's names out loud. So I would say, Hope, daughter of Marcia. And then I would squeeze the hand of the person next to me and she would pick it up and say it from there. And some women choose to also say granddaughter of, if they have a grandmother who they want to acknowledge as a maternal figure, or an aunt or a sister, a birth mother and an adoptive mother, whatever's meaningful to that woman when her turn comes in the circle. We have a special handhold that we do that I'll show you in a moment that Claire and I started years ago in the Motherless Daughters Circle and we still use today. It is tricky to do this online with 350 people, but we've come up with a system that has worked in the past. So we're going to try it again today. And it gets a little messy, and that's okay because life is messy and we celebrate the messiness of life here at Motherless Daughters and everything we do. So I'll explain to you how we're going to do it. We will all, do like a sort of a virtual handhold, and then we will subdivide into categories. And I will say, if you were 12 or younger when your mom died, please unmute. And then we'll say 1, 2, 3, and out loud all at once, those of you who were fallen under when your mom died, and say your name, daughter of, and your mom's name. It's so powerful to hear all these women saying it together. And then I will ask you to unmute, and then we'll ask everyone who was a teenager when their mom died to unmute and say their name and their mom's name and their grandmother or aunt or whoever they'd like out loud. And then we'll do women in their 20s, and then we will do women who are 30 and older. And then at the end, we will do a very special one just for women who are facing their first Mother's Day without their moms. So you all can say it twice if you'd like. It takes a little bit of time, but it's worth it, I think, to hear all the women saying this out loud together. It's so moving. So I will explain the hand hold. What we do is we put 2 thumbs up in front, 2 thumbs up in front of you, and tip both of them to the left. Left. Well, I think you're seeing my left. You might be seeing my right, but it should be your left. And then we open our hands and we slide them out to the side. And that is so that when you're standing in person together, you will then grasp the hands of the woman next to you. And that will symbolize that when you are feeling down, your sister can lift you up. And when she is feeling down, you can lift her up. So we'll keep our hands like this in the circle throughout this, except when you need to mute and unmute, of course. All right. So if you were 12 years old or under when your mom died, please feel free to unmute yourself. We can also put these in the chat box as well, but let's unmute ourselves. And at the count of 3, all of you can say your name and your mom's name out loud, daughter of. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Catherine, daughter of Sarah,
Louise,
daughter
granddaughter
Catherine,
Tori,
Betty
Sophia,
of Aziza
daughter
Bar.
Thank you. Please remute yourself. Now, if you were a teenager when your mom died, please, that would be, 13 to 19, please unmute yourself and it will go next.
Marion,
Donna,
daughter of
Vicky, Jones, Martin,
Shannon, daughter of Carol.
daughter of
Charlie, daughter of
Charlene.
Margaret.
Gladys and Elizabeth.
Okay, please go ahead and remute yourselves. And next, we will do women who were in their 20s when their moms died, which we recognize as a very special category of motherless daughters because people think you're an adult, but you may still very much need your mom and be close to her at that age too. So if you were in your 20s when your moms died, please unmute and we'll go 1, 2, 3.
Michelle,
Shelby, daughter of Catherine,
Granddaughter of
daughter
Kennedy
of Kevin,
daughter of
Jackson.
Sheila.
So much. Please remute yourself. And then if you were 30 or older when your mom died, please unmute and we'll have your circle now.
Irene, daughter of Susan.
daughter of
Irene,
daughter of Amelia,
Janet,
Isabel, mother of Ellen.
Kailani, daughter of Bernadette.
Janet, mother of Joyce. Janet.
All right, please mute. Now remute. And then if this is your first Mother's Day without your mom, we want to especially acknowledge you on this weekend and your mom for her recent passing. So if it's your first Mother's Day without your mom, please unmute and we'll do yours on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Alicia,
daughter
of Andrea,
Amber,
Daughter of Christina.
and Lena.
Big love. Please remute now. So we'll please, that's so moving for me every year to do that with all of you. Wow. Wow, so powerful. Claire, Angela, Ace, how are you all feeling right now? And what would you like to share with the group? Anything before we come to our closing in a few moments?
That was so powerful. Like when the first group went, I was like, wow. It was just really this like sea of remembrance. It was really, really awesome. So I'm feeling full, complete. Yeah.
It's gratitude. So powerful. I've cried so much, but I feel good. I'm just giving into it, 28 years and still here. Thank you to everyone for holding this space.
We call it a circle of remembrance, but Ace, I love that. In the future on these big calls, we should call it the sea of remembrance.
Oh yeah.
All
It was
swimming in together, right? We're all swimming in it together. We're riding these waves together. I feel like the power of community is sacred, and thank you all so much for being part of this global community today. Angela, what do you think about doing some deep breathing together now? We're going to ground ourselves so we can go back out into our days or nights. Would you be willing to lead us through a couple of breaths? You're muted again. Thanks.
Oh my gosh, I hear muted and I'm glitching, but I'm here and I love you guys. I'm so happy. Okay, I'm muted and glitching. We're gonna take a deep breath in, hold, and then big exhale. This time we're gonna breathe in for 7, hold for 8, and release for 9. Sometimes when the release is longer than the breath in, that can help. So we're gonna take a deep breath in for 7, hold for 8, and then release for 9. Okay, on this last one, I'm gonna have us take one more deep breath in, shoulders up, hold, and then I want you to just shake it out. So just kind of shake it out. Yeah, shake the hands. Sometimes this is really helpful for kind of moving that grief. Just shake, move your bodies, walk, go out into the world today if you feel like it. Get in the shower. Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
It really was. Thank you so much for being here today. We all offer programs and services throughout the year. You can do yoga with Ace. There are sessions and retreats and groups with me and Angela and Claire. Please check out all of our websites. We would love to see you in the future, either in person or online. And we are sending you so much love and best wishes for a very peaceful Mother's Day tomorrow. Remember to take good care of your mother's daughter. Goodbye, everyone. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day.